Oh, good morning, everybody. We just got prompted. We're live. Good morning. Welcome to Harpoon Beer and Donuts. Welcome to Whiteys. Welcome to Saturdays. It's Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and you guys are going to be drinking beer with us. That's fantastic. First of all, as always, we have a little bit of business to do.
It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time too.
All right. First up on the business segment. Happy anniversary to my wife, Paula. 28 years of bliss. I love you. You're probably not watching this, but maybe you'll watch the repeat. We don't know. Anyway, happy anniversary, hon. Good luck today at the dog show, and we'll talk. I'll see you tonight. This is totally awkward. But anyway, happy anniversary. Next, we got to talk about what we have coming up at the store, which is a number of cool things. Wednesday night at 6, we are with the folks at McClintock Distilling out in Frederick. We're going to be mixing some drinks. We're going to be talking about the distillery. We're going to be talking. They just won USA Today's Best Craft Distiller in the Country, Small Craft Distiller in the Country Award, which is pretty amazing. They do some cool stuff. And for the first time, we're going to have live music on the stream. So we're Michelle Hannon and One Blue Night. They're going to join us. They're going to do some songs. So that'll be pretty exciting. Then next Saturday, this is also very exciting. A revisit with the collaboration we did several years ago with True Respite and Kajini's up north in Poolsville. It's our collaboration. It's called Cool Kids Wear Masks. And see, we are going to be selling these masks starting next week. $11.99. They're great, super colorful. You can walk around. You'll be one of the coolest people in town. There's only about 100 of them, so just come on by, pick one up. The beer will be released at Kujini's on Wednesday. At True Respite, I'm not sure when. Probably Friday. I'll have it Friday as well. So go by, pick up a mask, pick up a 4-pack. It's a great mask, right? Look at that, huh? Super colorful. People, you'll be walking down the street. People will be like, "Where'd you get that cool ass mask?" And you'll be like, "Where else? I got it at Whiteys." What can you say? Then on Tuesday, the 20th, our good friend Erin Tyler, GM of Legends, is going to join us for Ladies Craft Beer Night. We're going to talk to her about what it's like to be a GM for a major craft distributor around. So there you go. I mean, we got a lot of stuff coming up and some other stuff in the works. So glad you guys could, are down with joining us for all this stuff. And now, without further ado, you guys need to follow this account on Instagram. My friend Anita, Boston Beer Influencer. We're going to bring her up after a little intro.
Watch this short video to get
I knew that was going to happen.
Uninterrupted listening.
And wait, we got to have this. We got to do this right. So I'm going to keep harping until it's done. So Anita is based out of Boston. She's does travel, food, beer. Very cool. And I'm watching this thing because I got to have a cool intro or otherwise it doesn't work for Anita. That's enough. That's enough because last time I did that, YouTube got mad at me and was like, you're not supposed to do that. So, hi, Anita. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, you don't want to get that copyright infringement issues. That's
yeah. Well, usually if it's like a small sample, you don't get busted on it, and it's like not like a real. I don't think it's a real thing anyway, unless they want to make serious money on it. Which I mean, you're on it, so we're probably going to make $1 million on this thing.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
If it was
Got
just
the big draw.
Yeah, nobody cares about that guy. Nobody cares about that guy at all. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you
for having me.
Welcome from Maryland. We're in Maryland. You're up in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So tell us about you, how you got into beer. Et cetera, so forth.
So I got into beer. I'm actually originally, believe it or not, from Tennessee. So I'm from Nashville. But I've been up in Boston for about 10 years now. So pretty much New England.
Do you have that hybrid Tennessee, Massachusetts accent, which would be totally cool?
I don't know what that would sound like. It would be something for sure. No, I don't have either accent. I mean, I think if I drink enough, the Southern accent tends to come through, but
yeah, that's me too. Like mine gets stronger well, you'll see by the end of this thing. You'll probably be talking like us the whole time too. So anyway, continue.
So I've been up in Boston for about 10 years, and I got into craft beer, I would say, maybe in like 2013, 2014. Back, I think when the craft beer scene was really starting to explode. And, for a long time, I really hesitated. My husband really loves craft beer. He's the reason that I kind of got pushed into this. But for a long time, because it was super heavy on those West Coast IPAs and super bitter, super in your face kind of beers, I didn't think that I liked them. And then what really kind of pushed me into the world of craft beer actually is Tank 7 from Boulevard Brewing out in Kansas City. And that was the first beer that I had, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And it's like 8.5%. So you can get into some trouble with that one. But from there, it's great. And now, obviously living up here, I'm super lucky to have access to some of the best breweries in the world, not only in Boston, but anywhere in New England. So really in the prime spot for craft beer, I'd say. Yeah,
right. You're not far from Treehouse. You're not far from, you're really close to Trillium. You're not far from really Vermont. Do they have a lot of distro up there from stuff from Vermont?
Yes and no. So like The Alchemist has started to distribute. So Night Shift Brewing is a big one, and they have their own distribution company, and they've really been instrumental in bringing a lot of the harder to find beers to this area. So you can find a heady topper around here if you're on the lookout. You're not just going to stumble upon that likely, right. But it's I mean, the options here are just incredible. I'm walking distance from a brewery called Idle Hands that I'm obsessed with. It's the best. Oh, cool. And just like even the local stuff, right, is great. Like the smaller breweries that you don't hear about, you obviously have the Trillium and the Treehouse, but you can just stumble into any place.
Vitamin C isn't far from you, right?
What's that?
Vitamin C, they're not far from you.
Yeah, they're down in Weymouth. I actually have never been. I've had their beer on tap, like at bars, but I've never actually been to their brewery.
Oh, cool. Have you been out to do you travel far? Do you travel to like Worcester for stuff like at Worm? I saw a post last night with that Wormtown beer. That's why I'm asking.
Oh yeah. I've, I'm going out to the Berkshires next weekend. So that'll be a good, adventure and check off some of those breweries. But really, I mean, and a few weekends ago, we went up to Maine, up to Portland, which in and of itself has like, I don't know, a dozen breweries that you can just bounce around from place to place too. So those are kind of like the day trips. I actually am remiss to say that I have never spent a good amount of time in Worcester. I've only pretty much
driven. You're not missing much. So
through it. Well, but the beer scene, I do think there is.
The beer scene is really good. Greater Good is there, and Wormtown. There's a couple other ones. I was up there a couple years ago when we hit 2 or 3 of them. And they're all pretty new. There's a place out in Spencer that's a Trappist Monk.
Oh yeah, it's the only Trappist Monk brewery in the States, I think.
Yes, exactly. And my friend Jane says I have an accent even when I'm not drinking. That might be true. But if you're heading out to the Berkshires, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, Wachusett.
Yeah,
you go right by there. If you go out on Route 2, you're going right by there, and that place has actually developed into a really cool space. Like, it used to be really small, and then they cleaned out the whole back so it's all wooded, and you can have your dog back there, and they have like food trucks. I don't know what it looks like.
Cool.
I don't know what it looks like because of COVID, but
I imagine they would probably expand the outside area.
I mean, it's probably doing them a lot of good to have that outside area at this point, because like I know down here, a lot of places are working to have more outside and praying that we don't have a bad winter. Now up there, that's probably not going to be an option, obviously.
Yeah, I'm definitely bracing for that COVID winter and spending all the time I can outside now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. So what was your first? You got into craft beer through your husband. And Tank 7 was your first. What are you mostly into now? Hazies, blah, blah, blah.
You know, I've gone through a few phases. Now I'm just really into like the classic styles. Like, give me a good lager, a good pilsner. I think I'm a little controversial that I like saisons, which I know are not the most popular style, but Tank 7.
People like them. They're not really my thing. I had one a couple weekends ago, about a week ago with a friend of mine who just did like a barrel-aged Brett saison, which is really good. Delicious. Yeah, it was really good. It was super winey, had a lot of wine character to it. I really liked it. But that's not really my go-to style. But I think like a lot of beer people now, I think that's kind of their go-to style, because people that drink a lot of beer now are sort of like, I just want regular beers.
Yeah, I want a beer that tastes like a beer.
Best time of year for beer.
Yeah, I think that, there's a tendency now with like the hip hype beers that are very like, either a quadruple IPA that's like, I don't know, 25% alcohol or something, or those like super heavily fruited like Berliner Weisses, which are fine and I enjoy on occasion, but like really if I'm drinking, I want like a nice Oktoberfest or something that tastes like beer, isn't going to like sit super heavy.
Right.
And yeah.
I totally on board with that, especially if you like side fire pits and that kind of stuff now. Like going out to the Berkshires, I'm sure that's part of like the game plan for you guys. So like a nice Oktoberfest by a campfire is like
perfect.
Is like totally the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when did you start this IG account?
About a year ago, a little over a year ago. So I was out, the idea came about, I was really just posting too many beer pictures on my personal account and feeling a little bit like I was spamming people who didn't care. So I was actually out in Philadelphia with my soon-to-be sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and she was like, why don't you just start a beer account? And I think she actually came up with the name too. And I made the account, and after a few beers, here we are.
There you go. My friend Abby actually is now following you. So that's great.
Nice.
Abby, we're gonna highlight Abby's thing. Abby makes masks. So
cool.
Abby needs to post her Etsy page on these things so people can order masks from her. She makes super cool masks. She makes me these 2 hot masks that are bomb. You'll love them. So,
I'm always in the market for masks these days. You can never have enough of them.
Right, exactly. It's like the accessory to have. It's like the only 20 accessory, right? So Abby, just make sure you post your a link to your Etsy on this.
And Abby, I'll post it on my page too if you want.
There you go. We're trying to get Abby some mask love. That's great. I'm actually sending Abby one of our masks. So
nice. Yeah, I saw those cool masks that you were editing earlier.
Hit me up. I'll send you one, and then you guys can all like Instagram your cool kids masks.
I know. I'm waiting for like a mask influencer page now. How there's all the different.
You should start that.
Yeah, the mask of the week.
I have like a lot of masks. I could do that. I might do that.
There you go.
I got to think of a good name though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to think of it now. Anyway, we got the folks on. I see Bruce and I see Dan. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Dan in a little bit, and Abby is going to talk to Dan a little bit. I've talked to Dan numerous times, and we want Abby to introduce herself. And because Abby is close to Harpoon, so I'm sure she goes to Harpoon on the reg. I'm going to find out what's happening with Harpoon for people are interested with COVID and all that stuff, how they're doing and that kind of stuff. And we'll talk to Dan a little bit about the history of Harpoon. And then we'll bring in Bruce, and then we'll start eating donuts and drinking beer, which is what the whole point of this event is anyway. So without further ado, the founder of Harpoon Brewing, my friend, Dan Kearny. There he is.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm up here in Vermont, where it's a spectacular fall day. The foliage is perfect.
Wow.
I'm burn a bunch of leaves after we do this.
I'm mad jealous.
Yeah.
Where in Vermont?
Small town called Pomfret, just north of Woodstock.
Nice.
About a half hour from our brewery up here.
Nice.
Do you go visit Liz, that used to be the hospitality person? She doesn't I think her family owns the Woodstock Inn now.
No, you know what? I see Liz regularly. They own her in-laws. They bought, she and her husband, a great restaurant in Woodstock called Prince and the Pauper that has been kind of the best restaurant in Woodstock for like 40 or 50 years. So they just bought that place, we're really happy about that.
Wow. See, it's a small world.
It sure is. That's so funny you made that connection, because I saw her not long ago, and before she left us, she had done a beer, like a peach.
Oh, that was a delicious beer.
Yeah, and they, not surprisingly, they sold through like 10 cases of it at the Prince and the Pauper, because she was successfully pushing it on everybody, right?
Yeah, it was a peach Berliner or a peach sour, right?
You know, we had done one of our annual employee beer culture trips to Europe, and we went to Bruges in Belgium and then to Iceland. And we had a really good peach IPA in Bruges. Ooh. And had some great sours in Iceland. And so kind of combined them all together into the idea like a peach sour IPA. It was really, really good.
Yeah, that beer was great. Yeah, that beer was great. So Abby, the floor is yours.
Anita.
I'm thinking about my friend Abby with the map.
I know. I see the Abby put up on the bottom.
I see it again. Sorry. Anita, the floor is yours. Ask Dan questions.
Yeah. Well, Dan, it's so good to meet you, first of all.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thanks for joining. I'm curious how are things going these days with a thing or two happening in the news, in the world, changing how.
What a year. What a year. You know, it's month to month. Everybody got kicked in the gut in the spring when we lost 35% of our business overnight. So second half of March through early June were the worst before we're able to, the on-premise was able to kind of start reopening, and then package sales kind of turned around. And, where I got to tell you, a good thing is we're an employee-owned company, as I think you guys know. And at times like this, my God, culture is so important. Everybody just pulled together.
Yeah.
To do to get through this thing. This is just the latest challenge, right? And so I got to tell you, 6+ months in, I'm feeling a lot better about things than I was certainly in June. My heart is still going out to all of our on-premise friends, and some of whom have just not been able to reopen because they're too small spacing, and you just don't know how much longer that can go on. But I'm just hopeful that most of us can kind of get through this thing and get onto the other side, which maybe 6 to 9 months from now, we'll be in a much better place.
Knock on wood. I know it's, as you said, it's a little day by day, but it seems like Harpoon is really, I feel like, leading kind of like the charge in how to get through and adapt to this environment. I noticed, I'm on your mailing list, obviously, and I was noticing like you guys are doing CSA packages with your beer and other options, which I think is really cool.
you like to think that people will rise to the challenge, and I tell you, they just did. And I know other companies, it's the same. But I love it when it's not like I have to come up with ideas. It's like you're seeing people across the company say, "Hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this?" You know, we did a October feast last weekend. It would have been our 31st Oktoberfest when normally we have 15,000 people.
Oh, I've been to that before. They're fun.
They're so fun. And I'm now meeting children who are legal drinking age whose parents met and got married from meeting at our festival. So I'm really, really old. But, we did Oktoberfest, we did a remote flannel 5K. We did a thing in the spring, a 5 mile that was remote. So people are doing it, and we're just trying to, we've been Love Beer, Love Life about the social aspects of beer since we started the company 35 almost years ago. So we kind of feel it's in our genes and a mission to bring people together, and that's never been more important than now. When you can safely socially distancing and all that stuff. But man, don't you just miss going out to a bar? Yes, more than just about anything. Aside from maybe seeing my family and being able to hug people, but there's nothing. I mean, nothing better than sitting at the bar and meeting people that you don't know and talking to them and having a fun time. And now it just feels like that. Like, it's great to go out, sit outside, be with your friends or whoever's in your kind of pod, but there's something that can't be beat about just like connecting with people over a beer who you may or may not know already. And the buzz of a crowded, fun place, Yes. We had a great outdoor space at both breweries, but everything's distance. It's just a different feel. It's still really nice, but I remember walking my favorite day in the beer hall is Thursday, like at 5:30 or 6. You just got that happy pre-weekend after work, and it's crowded, and we just not had that, and I miss it. I mean, I think the last time I was at the Harpoon Brewery down the Seaport was before a show at Blue Hills Pavilion, and just the energy and everyone around. It was just, and it was like a Saturday at probably around 5:30 or 6, and you get a pretzel. You can't beat that that combination. I know. So true. But yeah, and how has production been for you guys? Are you switching? We've been full. It's people kind of chuckle when you say you're an essential industry, but thank goodness the governor of both states, both Massachusetts and Vermont, did deem brewing essential. So we've been producing every single day through this thing. When people say, "So have you been working from home?" I said, "I worked from home for 3 hours one Friday afternoon in April." One of our breweries every day. My family is like, "Go back to work. I don't care if you get sick, just go back to friggin' work." And but I figure, I got people making beer every day, so I got to be there with them because they've not missed a beat. And we get people chomping at the bit, wanting to come back. We just kind of yesterday had a Zoom with everybody, kind of reminding and actually tightening things up again. The numbers in the Northeast have been really pretty good since June, but now they're starting to creep up again. And we just want to stay on the right side of everything if we possibly can. Have you guys been healthy throughout? I mean, down here, we were lucky because our governor kind of took control over it early. And here too, it's the same thing. They deem breweries essential. So you are seeing a lot of pivoting, like this kind of thing. Like we're probably the only ones that are doing this actively at the store, but you are seeing people pivoting and figuring it out. And then like a local person came up with a beer delivery service called Beer Me. So that really helped in the major part of basically what was a lockdown where everything was closed. So people couldn't go out, but then they developed this service, which is on an app. So that really helped a lot of people. We started at the store. We started doing delivery and curbside. I feel like people have really pivoted. Yeah. I think winter is going to be where the real challenge is. Not really for a liquor store. I don't feel like a liquor store is affected that much. But I feel like businesses like, obviously, bars. Now I think they're in Maryland, they're like 75%. Are your guys down there, because your winters are milder than ours, are people thinking that they can, with some heaters and stuff, really try to stay open throughout? Yes, if we have the winter this year,
that we had last year.
Yep.
I won't say they'll be okay, but they'll be in a better space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had a really, really, really mild winter last year. I don't think we even had any snow.
It was like that up here too. In
last year was no winter at all. We had it was one of those. We had a lot of snow. We had a good winter up here in Vermont, but Boston was a very mild winter too.
It was. Yeah. I don't even think winter parking restrictions ever went into effect. Yeah. That's how I judge how bad the winter is how the parking situation is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's good for folks. I mean, I'm hoping that we have a nice winter for everybody, and it doesn't really. There's so many aspects of it that most people don't even think about, like the trickle down of what happens. A lot of people aren't thinking about, and then now there's issues with cans. Are you guys having issues with cans?
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why we can't get enough of this Dunkin' product on the shelves because of entirely a can supply issue. We've run out of our Arctic Chill, our hard seltzer we're making with Pola. And that's all canned. We're scrambling. We're trying to get some from Mexico and going to build up a stockpile. It helps to have such a great partnership with Polar because obviously they're a huge can buyer. And they out on a couple of occasions. But the can thing is real and it's not going away. This is going to be the next 2 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. We're 10 billion cans short. And they've got 15 billion additional cans in the pipeline, like new construction, new plants. But they're not going to be fully operational, I guess, until 2022. So this is I reached out to Rob Anita, who's head of the Brewers Association, 2 months ago saying, hey, Bob, as our trade association, you guys should launch some kind of craft beer, please buy us in bottles campaign because the big guys, Budweiser, Sam Adams, etc. They're going to be able to get cans way before smaller guys.
Yeah.
And that's how Larry Bell was interviewed, and he said we should have the first week of November be craft beer and bottles week. Please buy craft beer and bottles because it's a problem. And when you put on top of, so you're a smaller brewer. Has had to either shut down or go to half capacity, and now you can't get cans, which are the only growing package.
Wow.
The can thing could be actually put more people out of business in some ways than COVID, depending on how this thing plays out. So it's serious.
Wow.
I had no idea, honestly.
That's pretty. That's actually kind of depressing. On a lighter,
but again, I just think for our trade association, helping to get the word out, so it's not like, hey, Harpoon's complaining about please buy. It's like, hey, the whole industry is really short of these things, and it's not going to be solved in 2 months. It's going to be solved in 2 years.
Yeah, well, the problem is too. It's the seltzers are a problem, right? But then now you have all these big guys, big wine guys. They jumped and they jumped on the can wagon too. So I mean that pull plus we get a lot of it from Canada, so the tariffs are an issue. I can see where that's
kind of the perfect storm. COVID just poured gasoline on the fire. All of a sudden you lose all the draft business, can businesses through the roof. You have a new category, seltzers, which has taken 10% of the beer market in 3 or 4 years. And it's 100% cans.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seltzer's the biggest story since light beer in the 70s, and it's grown bigger, faster than light beer did.
I gotta say, I have not jumped on that bandwagon. It's hard to find a good hard seltzer, but I will say I haven't tried the Polar one.
You got to try our Arctic Chill. We were named #1 in Men's Health. They did 50 seltzers. Our ginger lime was #1 across the country. We do it with Polar. They know what they're doing, and our base is really good. It's give it a shot. I'm like you though. I mean, I'm a beer person, so thankfully I'm not drinking that much. I mean, I drink too much probably, but where I'm like, oh, seltzer this time. I want to have something to drink. I want to have a beer or maybe a glass of wine occasionally.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about the Dunkin'. Let's move on to happier things and talk about the Dunkin'. We're going to bring Bruce in. And let's talk about the Dunkin' partnership. Then we'll get to sampling some beers. You could talk a little bit about UFO if you want, which I'm wearing a UFO sweatshirt today.
Nice, thank you.
I really like, but I don't know who is in charge of ordering. Can they have pockets put in them? Because this one doesn't have and it's like super annoying.
Yeah.
But it's super warm. So it's a great sweatshirt. So let's bring Bruce, easy for me to say, Bruce in. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Dunkin partnership. Hi, Bruce. How are you? This is Bruce. He's the local Harpoon rep. This is Anita.
Anita, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
You know the other guy.
Good morning, Bruce. I love your hanging plant. That's a new.
Oh, wow! Look at that product placement.
It's like I threw a party last night, and the box is hanging in the plant.
Very subtle. You can't.
That looks terrific. Very good. All right, so Dan and Bruce, let's talk about this partnership with Dunks. We know you did one last year. Did you do one or two?
No, we did. This is a third
two because it was the
year. Yeah, was the porter, the coffee porter, the last 2 years, and then this year we've expanded it with the mixed pack and then the Dunkin pumpkin.
And then the ice coffee one was last year too, right?
Yeah, great relationship. You know, they're a Boston company, deep New England roots, right? You go get your Dunk, and and they support a lot of local charities, and we really like them. You know, again, the good things in business, as we know with our partnership with you for many years, it's relationship based, right? And so we like the Dunkin people, like their values, like the way they run their business. We said, let's have some fun together and see if we can make some great coffee infused beers. And I can't say the idea of the Jelly Donut IPA, that was not one that was coming from me. That was an impediment to that, but I was a little bit of a skeptic early on. And then Bruce's boss, Dennis Fitzgibbons, was the big jelly donut guy because he's a big donut guy. So the jelly donut, the Boston cream, and the Dunkin', they're good. The pumpkin is a great beer.
Yeah, so should we start? Because I have the beers here.
I think we should.
I have the donuts here. I will say one thing. I don't know. I haven't bought Boston creams in a while in Massachusetts, but this drives me crazy in Maryland. So I go to Dunks today, right? I get the 4 donuts for today. The woman puts, I don't know why they do this, but she puts the Boston cream in the bag. Okay, she puts it in upside down. Look at that thing.
Oh, no.
They don't do that in Massachusetts. I know they don't do that at Dunks in Massachusetts.
Criminal.
Mine's nice and clean.
Look at, see, she got hers in Massachusetts. Look at mine. It's like half the frosting's on the bag.
So they do crab cakes okay, but donuts is
donuts aren't really a Maryland thing. You got to go to every corner in Boston to get.
Is there an Old Bay donut down there? Is that like a local specialty?
No, there's
really?
Ice cream too. Well, Bruce lives in Baltimore. He knows better than me. Yeah, there's Old Bay everything here. Old Bay beer. Old Bay.
Yeah, if you see a Maryland crab cake on the menu in New England, you kind of stay away from it. I know to stay away from it. It's the
right. It's like seeing a lobster roll down here, right? You're not going to do that. You're going to be like, what? Come on, we know that.
Yeah, they're usually like deep fried, and you get the little thin pieces of meat. And
and you know what else they don't have down here that drives me crazy? Which we'll get to the beer in a second. I do have to say this. This drives me crazy. You can't get clams with bellies in Maryland. When you get fried clams, all they are is strips.
The necks or the strips?
Just the strips. So you can't get them with bellies, which is ridiculous because they actually send them from Maryland to Massachusetts.
The bellies?
The clams with bellies. They catch up here and they send them up there, but you can't. You have to call ahead to see if they have them. And if you say, "Do you have fried clams with bellies?" they think you're crazy. Anyway, that's my rant. Upside down Boston cream donuts and fried clams with bellies. All right, let's continue. All right, let's start with these beers because I'm thirsty and I'm ranting.
Let's do it.
So that's always the best way to have me stop is beer.
Yeah.
What do we want to start with? Pumpkin?
Let's start.
What do you think? The Jelly Donut IPA to start?
All right, let's do it.
We go. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
So
let's don't be scared.
With the mix pack, that's the first time we've done the mix pack after doing Dunkin' Coffee Porter the past 2 years. And we have 4 styles, 2 donut-themed beers, and then 2 coffee-themed beers. So the Jelly Donut IPA, and we have the Boston Cream Stout. It's actually pretty low in alcohol, 4.3. And then we have Dunkin Pumpkin and the Dunkin Coffee Porter that we've done the past 2 years. So jumping into the Jelly Donut. So we actually brew the 2 donut beers with donuts in them.
Really?
We do. Not a huge amount, but there's a little bit of raspberry puree in there.
I gotta get a beer. I'll be right back.
All right. And just from opening it, really get the aromas.
Yeah, it smells like raspberry.
The raspberries.
Oh, it definitely smells like raspberry.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of hops, and then you get a little bit of that, some bready notes, and a little bit of sweetness on the nose.
Yeah, actually, you do. So, you guys have donuts?
I do not. I'm drinking my donuts this morning.
I've got my donut. I'm ready.
See, here we go. So you're going to take a little bite of the best way to do this, I feel like, is you take a bite of the donut.
Okay.
And then drink the beer. The real
I gotta say,
raspberry.
Okay.
I was skeptical of the Jelly Donut IPA.
Yep.
It's good.
But if someone said to you, like, hey, does this taste like what you'd think a Jelly Donut IPA should taste like, would you say yes?
I think so. I think the raspberry is like subtle enough that it's not like super. I was worried it was going to be a little sweet, but it's not. It's good. I would order this.
I actually really like it.
And the
Yeah.
hop's going to tame the sweetness on the end of it.
Bruce,
It's excellent with
you know what the hops are in that? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I should know the answer to that. It's got some nice hops in it too. I can look it up.
It does, not specifically.
See, it doesn't say.
You do get a little, the clarity, you do get a little bit of,
a little bit of a haze bomb.
a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It also has like that lactose like subtlety to it, where it's not like it doesn't taste like a milkshake, but you can taste that it's there.
It's really good if you pair it with the donut.
Mm-hmm. And one thing we focus on with a lot of our beers is, do you want another one after finishing the first one? You know, we want that answer to be yes.
So 3 types of hops: the Hull, melon, and Citra. So kind of fruit forward hops that go along with the raspberry from the Jelly Donut.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought I'd like this as much as I do. So this is this is excellent. This is well done. People should come to Whiteys, pick up this. They can pick up, we're still doing the offer. So you can come to Whiteys and pick up the 12-pack. 12-pack's like $18.99. But for an extra $1, for $19.99, we'll sell you a Dunkin'. We'll give you a Dunkin' $5 Dunkin Gift Card. So you can go to your Dunks and you can buy these donuts, and then you can sit at home and do the pairing yourself. So we want everybody to join in. So if you need to join in today, you can join in and then just hit us up. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit Anita up on Instagram. Hit Harpoon up on Instagram. Tell them your impressions of all the beers. I don't know if they have a hashtag. We'll figure out a hashtag so people can get noticed on the Harpoon website. Okay, this is excellent. I'm probably going to finish this beer like later.
Yeah.
And the donuts. And then like I'll weigh 7,000 pounds by the end of the day.
It's 2020. Beer and calories don't count.
Exactly. I'm going to have the COVID-19 pounds just from the carrying alone.
My diet starts in 2021, so.
Yeah, well, we'll see where we are in 2021.
Okay, I'm really pleasantly surprised with this.
Yeah, this one kind of is the hook. It gets you when you're looking at the package. Like Jelly Donut IPA, I think I definitely have to try that.
Yeah.
Bruce, what do you think next?
What's next?
I think if we go light to dark, I think we go with Dunkin Pumpkin next.
All right.
I'm excited about this one.
Mm-hmm. This is our best iteration of a pumpkin spiced latte beer, if there is such a thing.
There is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this I think is really interesting. My favorite of the pack. I think for a pumpkin beer, there's a lot of interesting stuff, and the coffee flavor almost gives it like a molasses, little hints of molasses. I just think it's really good autumn beer. It's not just a sweet pumpkin. It's like, holy wow, there's a lot of good flavor in that, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this one is 5.2% alcohol. We brew it with a little bit of coffee. Dunkin' coffee is in it. A little bit of lactose and pumpkin and spices.
It's
Pumpkin
good.
beer.
It's not.
It's a little bit cloudy. You do get that nice little bit of haze. It's slightly darker, where some of the coffee comes into play.
Yeah. I can see sitting and having a couple of those in front of a fire pit.
Heck yeah.
Definitely.
I'm really enjoying that. So if the jelly donut's more of a morning, midday-ish beer.
This is your all-day drinking pack.
Plan your agenda, your daily agenda around.
Completely.
Completely.
Our friend Abby is a fan of the Dunkin' Pumpkin. Thank you, Abby.
It's good. It's not so sweet, which a lot of pumpkin beers are. I think the coffee is a really nice addition to it.
I think when we had tasted that, I'm like, this is just an interesting beer. I mean, forget the whole Dunkin' package, etc. But like, this is an interesting take on a pumpkin beer. Because I think there's, from a beer brewer perspective, it's like, oh wow, okay, with the molasses hints, almost toffee, whatever. It's good stuff.
Yeah, this is
excellent with it too.
Now the one last year was a straight up porter, right? I'm trying to remember the one last year.
The coffee porter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one.
We'll probably end with
in
that
the mix pack. So for those who still want the Dunkin' Coffee Porter, it's still in the mix pack.
This is very good too. Excellent. Both.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a fire pit beer.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. This is our standalone beer in the Dunkin' collaboration this year. So this is also in 6-pack bottles and in the mix pack. So this is our featured product.
And as we learn, drink beer out of bottles, which is
go for the bottle.
For those cans. What's next?
Next we'll do the another beer
donut combo
in beer form, the Boston Cream Stout.
All right. I don't have to worry about making my donut look bad after the woman.
Cocoa nibs in this one. It's a creamy, dry Irish stout. Low ABV, right, Bruce?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 4.3% alcohol. A little bit of vanilla, so it's those nice chocolatey notes.
This is the one I'm most excited about. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody I know that saw this, like I have a friend down here, and she said that's going to be a Massachusetts boy's dream. Drinking a Boston cream with the owners of Harpoon. She said that's got to be like pretty high up there.
That's peak Boston. Peak Boston.
And it's only 4.3. So my gosh, it's like drinking water pretty much.
Yeah, it's hydration, really.
Hydration, 100%.
Totally. We were featured in a ton of articles this year, and the first year we did this, we had so much press, but we've gotten a lot of press this year with the collaboration, and a lot of them on the titles are "What's more Boston than Dunkin and Harpoon making donuts and beer?"
And the nose in this thing is killer,
isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Really good. It's really good.
This should be a candle. Maybe we can get with Yankee Candle and do a Harpoon Dunkin' Yankee Candle of this.
Bruce, we got employee owners. We got to jump on that.
I'll write that one down, Rob. That's good. Can I take that one and roll with it?
I can smell this all day. I'm just gonna pour it on my hand and then smell it through this is amazing.
You just put a little, in your neck, whatever you're.
You can spritz it on yourself. Carry that throughout the day.
All right, we gotta try it with the donut though. That's the key.
Yeah.
My donut's looking a little bit nicer.
Yeah. I cut mine in half because I got to have pictures for the gram.
You know,
Right.
you should have seen, we had some great conversations with the rabbi we used to certify that our facility's kosher. When we went and said, hey, we want to add donuts to beer. You know, how does that work?
And it did.
Yeah, it did. We got kosher donuts to add to into the brewing process, so it all worked out.
So we've been doing these. This is actually a great day to do this because we haven't been able to do any beer and donuts all year, and we usually do a bunch of them. And this week in particular used to be Baltimore Beer Week. And so we used to always do a big beer and donuts event called the Beer and Donuts Extravaganza. So this is perfect that we got to kind of keep the tradition going.
Nice.
This weekend. So I'm really happy you guys agreed to do this today. And yeah, this is my favorite donut anyway. The Boston cream.
Boston cream?
Yeah. So this is fantastic. I'm super.
I think during COVID, people are looking for fun things, and I think this package just kind of checked the boxes from people saying, "Hey, you know what? This is such a fun thing. Let's bring it home and have some fun. You know, just like what we're doing right now. Nice distraction.
Yeah, beer and pastry distractions really.
Yep.
all you could hope for out of 2020.
Absolutely.
Rob, how many beer and donut events have you done?
How many? We started them in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was telling Anita before, we started them in 2013. And the first, I thought it was such a cool idea that I booked 8 in a row. And by the end of it, I was totally over it. I was like, this is okay, this was fun. But the first couple did really well. And then after that, it kind of tailed off. But my favorite beer and donut story is my friend Ty, who's Hysteria. You probably know Hysteria Brewing, Bruce, from Columbia. Well, he's heavily involved in that brewery. So he used to work for Duclaw back in the day, and they were the second ever beer and donuts. We had them come in, and I forgot the 3 donuts, but there was one was a Chipotle chocolate donut with their Chipotle chocolate stout that they had out at the time. And that donut was killer. People actually went over to the donut place and asked if they had it, and it was only limited run for us. And it's a big donut place. They make donuts for all over the country. So when I first approached them about it, I thought that for sure they were going to be get the hell out of here. Nobody ever heard of that, but they were on board. So when we did this one with Duclaw, my friend Ty was here, and we always did them around this time of the morning, 10 or 11 o'clock. So people would come in, and most people would give you the side eye because they'd be like, "What? Beer and donuts?" They didn't get it. That was pretty universal. You see it all over the place. And this one person came up to Ty when he was there, and he was and Ty's a heavier guy. The guy goes, "Who would ever do something like beer and donuts? Who could write that?" And Ty goes, "Fatties like me." And it's still the funny. And the guy actually tried it, and he bought a 6-pack. But that's Chipotle donut was killer. That was one of the best donuts. And then we sort of got away from it doing it so often. Then we went to every 6 weeks. And then I just thought, well, I really like doing this, and it's pretty unique, but why don't we make it almost exclusively a Baltimore Beer Week thing? So we would get 10 breweries together, and they would choose 2 beers, and they would all pick their own local donut shop to bring in and pair. So that's kind of how it blew into why we called it the extravaganza, because we would have 10 different booths where people could go and sample the beers. And it was always pretty fun. And then we actually had on the table for this year, we were going to get a bunch of people together, and they had to use the same basic ingredients for the beer. But so they had that common thread, but they all had to make a different style of beer basic as far as like what the hops were and stuff, not basic. Obviously, you know the basics. And then they all had to make a beer and then pair that beer with a donut. Like, so it always be kind of the same beer, at least ingredient wise, but everybody would have a different donut and a different beer based off the same ingredients. And that was going to be actually a benefit for a project called Rebels Project, which is trauma and from like school shootings and stuff, but it never materialized because COVID, basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, and what better way to do a beer and donuts event than brewing beer with donuts? Dunkin Harpoon coming together.
Exactly.
It just fits. Normally we do it in person, but we adapt.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's do the Dunkin Coffee Porter. This is the OG. This is the original Dunkin Harpoon collaboration beer. Coming in at 6%, Dunkin Coffee Porter.
Porter is such a great beer style.
Underrated, I think.
Yeah.
Like people typically go for like the heavy stouts.
That's right. They think of stouts, which are delicious. Stouts are awesome too, but porter, you can get more of the subtler balances between the malt and a little bit of hop, and it's a nice style, you know.
So yeah. I did this one with the glazed, chocolate glazed.
Yeah.
It probably works really well with the pumpkin donut too.
Yep.
And probably really well with the Boston cream.
Totally. And you can mix and match. If you don't want to pair a chocolate or a dark, roasty beer with a chocolate donut or something like that, you can, complement it with some kind of other donut. Some
like a honey dip
chocolate, coffee.
A crulla.
Crulla.
They don't have them down here. They don't have, you know what else they don't have down here? They don't have jelly sticks.
No.
They don't have jelly sticks in Maryland. Criminal. They're my wife's favorite too. So every time we go home, we have to get get jelly sticks.
Just freeze a bunch of them.
Yeah, exactly. Which happy anniversary to my wife if she's watching.
Oh, nice.
Is today your anniversary?
What's that?
Is today your anniversary?
It is. 28.
How many? 28
years.
Nice.
Congratulations. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm 33 next Saturday, so I got a week. You reminded me, so now I'll make a plan.
Nice. Hey, cheers to fall weddings. Mine was on October 4th.
There you go. Happy anniversary to everybody.
I'm in January, so I don't fit that bill, but I feel like January in Boston to get married, it's the perfect season for it.
Yeah. Is that a COVID thing?
Fun winter wedding?
We just went to City Hall. We actually had our reception in May, so it wasn't as bad as it seems. But
see, Cassie's doing the coffee porter with the old fashioned.
Oh, that would be good.
Which is
you could dump
basically a regular donut, right?
Yeah.
They don't make those anymore either, which is bad. Remember the old Dunkin' Donuts that actually had the handle on them? So you could dunk them in your coffee?
Dunk your donuts in the coffee. Yeah, so that's, the first beer we did with Dunkin' is the coffee porter. You can dunk your donut in
I used to like just
porter,
plain donuts too. I know that sounds so boring.
Yeah, that's what those were. They didn't have little handles on them.
And they were just good for dipping.
Yeah. And they had a handle on them. Those are the original Dunkin' Donuts.
Is that where the name comes from?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow!
That's why the old sign used to be like a donut up here, and then like a coffee cup.
That's right.
Clearly, I know way too much about donuts.
Well, so I'm from Nashville originally, and Dunkin' Donuts were nowhere to be found.
We probably have them now
down there. Yeah, now they do. But when I came up here like a decade ago, I was like, oh, you can stones throw in any direction. And there's a Dunks.
My hometown even has a Dunks now, so everybody has a Dunks.
Yeah,
it's a thing. When I was in Aruba, there's a Dunks in Aruba.
Yeah,
so
they got them all over Germany, South Korea.
They got them everywhere. They need to have Harpoon there too. Do they have Harpoon in those places? No.
I mean, slowly but surely, but it's not a huge priority for us. We'd rather be a mile deep than a mile wide, I guess you say, right?
Very good.
Limited budgets, it's kind of hard to get on the radar in Arkansas and in Minnesota and California,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how does that work with so many local ones?
Yeah.
Local breweries? Like, do you guys find shelf space diminished, or do you look at different markets and say, look, here we're probably not going to do as well as we would like, so maybe not go there?
Absolutely. And that's changed. I remember like in the late 90s, we were getting calls, especially from the Southeast, like, please come down here because there were not a lot of craft breweries. But the world has completely changed, as you just said. And now it depends on if you get a good local, if you have a good local following, you have a great guy like Bruce in the market, and as importantly as a great local person is a great wholesaler network.
Right.
We've got a solid group in Maryland. And we view kind of our market as being, DC to Maine. Mm-hmm. With obviously, the closer you get to New England, the stronger we are. And that to us is, we're very happy with that. We're one of the original craft breweries. And if we can be a significant craft brewing presence in the Northeast United States as an employee-owned company, we can have a great business.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. And I think people, there's a lot of breweries now that maybe have aspirations of growing larger when they first started, but feel like now they're better off being more regionalized and maybe just even smaller than that. Like, like a Maryland brewery, maybe they only want to be in half of Maryland, and then they don't think they're going to get a lot of play in Western Maryland, so why do it? I feel like everybody's business plan, and I think this was even before COVID, was that like, let's focus on our area. We'll do a lot of charity stuff for our people, this area, that kind of thing.
Yep, it makes sense. And I would take it slow, and I would listen to your marketplace. It was a very different runway when there were 100 breweries in the country when we started. Now there are 8,500, and it's just, and the big guys, they have unlimited resources, and you can't compete with them. So be patient, make great beer, build deep local ties, and you can really have a lovely business, and then take advantage of opportunities when they pop up.
Right. Well, I think, and I appreciate, that's probably the best way to end this, actually, because that's words to the wise for people who are watching that are thinking about starting a brewery, people that have a brewery watching. These are all great. Like, I'm
agreed.
Well, thank you for your years and decades of support. I just want to let you know how much we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on and doing this. Anita, thanks. Thank you very much.
Anita, nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Let's have a beer in the Seaport.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
Bruce, I miss you, Bruce.
I miss you too. I wish the Massachusetts travel restrictions were a little bit different, but
why they don't want to Maryland in yet?
We don't want any.
They got the Hopkins versus the percentage infection rate, and our numbers are good for the
pretty much only letting in like New England and New York.
In New York, which is tough.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are they letting Rhode Island in yet?
No, which is great fun for us. You got to go after Rhode Island, kind of a corrupt, dirty place, and
little brother.
Some good joking back and forth about that, if you can imagine, But thanks for having me on. I'm gonna go out and burn some shit now, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. Well, congratulations. Have a great time burning stuff, and obviously fall's beautiful in Vermont.
Yeah.
Next time you see Liz, please say hello. I tried to email there, but to say hello to her. Paul, tell her my wife Paula says hello. Pat and Tom and everybody who used to visit with her when we used to come up once a year. we're really happy for. So just tell her.
I'll see her within the next week or two.
Well, tell her I said hello.
All right, great to be with all of you.
School here too, actually, but whatever. Thank you, Dan. Bruce, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. I need to stay on for 2 seconds. I'm gonna let Dan go. Dan's gone. Bye, Bruce. I just want to say thank you. You were fantastic. I appreciate it. Anytime I'm doing something from Boston,
please let me know. I'm happy.
Everybody, please follow her, Anita, on Instagram at Boston Beerfluencer. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Too, and go to Whiteys and buy some beer.
She's great. I love her. She's great. Bye. Thanks, Anita. I'll talk to you. And send me your address for the mask.
Cool. Yeah, I will.
Okay. Very good. Right. Bye. Be safe.
Bye. You
Have a good time in the Berkshires.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. All right, everybody. Everybody who watched, we want to thank for watching. Hope you had a good time. Come by. The deal's still on for those beers. So if you're watching this and you're like, that looks fun. The beers are great. I'm gonna actually try to mix the jelly donut one with the porter to see kind of what it's like. If people, I know I have friends that like to do that kind of stuff. I'm gonna try that out. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. It was great having you. I hope you had a good time. Come by Whiteys. The deal's still on. For $19.99, you get the 12-pack of the Dunks sampler and a $5 Dunks gift card. Do the pairing at home. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, so tomorrow would be a great day to do it. Come on by today. Say hey if you saw the broadcast. Wear a mask. Please vote. Join us Wednesday night with the guys from McClintock. And I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.